I killed my sister with my bare hands, or at least that's what the world believes. And the irony is, I didn't even recognize her face when I did it. The body swap happened on a Tuesday in the ER. Right after the crash they orchestrated to bury their secrets. And by morning, I was staring out from eyes that weren't mine, plotting a revenge so cold it would make the devil flinch. But the real gut punch? That text from Mom and Dad. "We need distance. Stop contacting us," came 3 days later. From the very phone I'd used to call for help, now in the hands of the monster wearing my skin. It started in the sticky heat of a Kansas City summer. The kind where the air hangs heavy with cicada hum and the promise of thunderstorms that never quite break. I was Fiona Hargrove, 28, a mid-level accountant at a firm downtown, crunching numbers for rich folks who barely remembered my name. Life was predictable: coffee runs, late nights balancing ledgers, and weekends crashing at my parents' sprawling ranch house in the suburbs, where the American dream looked like manicured lawns and barbecues that hid the rot underneath. My family was the Hargrove poster child for upward mobility. Dad, Victor, a state senator with a jawline sharp enough to cut glass and a smile that sold votes like used cars. Mom, Elaine, the perfect homemaker turned nonprofit darling. All pearls and PowerPoints for her charity galas. And my little sister, Lila, 24, the golden child, fresh out of Vanderbilt with a trust fund and a modeling gig in New York that had her strutting runways while I tallied her daddy's dirty money. We weren't close. Not really. Holidays were photo ops. Conversations clipped like bad edits. But blood's blood, right? Or so I thought. The betrayal hit like a freight train on I-70, the night of Lila's surprise visit home. She'd flown in unannounced, all legs and laughter, claiming she missed us. I should have smelled the lie. Her eyes darted too much. Her hugs too stiff, but I was the dutiful big sis, picking her up from the airport in my beat-up Civic, blasting Taylor Swift to drown out the awkward silence. Dinner was at the house, steak on the grill, corn from the farmer's market, and that Hargrove red wine Dad hoarded like it was liquid gold. We toasted to family first, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker. Halfway through dessert, Mom's famous pecan pie. Still warm, Lila dropped the bomb. "Fiona, I need your help," she said, her voice a whisper over the clink of forks. Her eyes were wide, pleading, the way they got when she was 8 and I'd covered for her shoplifting Barbies from Target. But this was bigger. It's about Dad. There's stuff. Embezzlement from the campaign fund. I found the ledgers. He used your firm's access codes to hide it. My fork froze midair. Dad? The man who'd taught me to ride a bike on that same backyard lawn. Who'd pinned my high school debate medal to his office wall. What do you mean? My codes. I stammered, heart thudding like a bass drop at a Chiefs tailgate. Lila leaned in. Her perfume, something floral and expensive, cloying in the humid air. He asked me to get them from you months ago. Said it was for practice. But it's real.
Fai. Milho.
If it comes out, we're ruined. The family's done. She slid a USB drive across the table, sleek and black like a bullet. Copy these files over your work server tonight. It'll look like a glitch. Untraceable. Please. For us. I should have walked. Should have driven straight to the cops. Blown the whistle on the whole corrupt circus. But family. That word lodged in my throat like a fishbone. Mom's eyes were on me, soft and expectant. Dad's hand heavy on my shoulder as he murmured, "You're the smart one.
Kiddo."
Always have been. I nodded, numb, and pocketed the drive. That night, in my cubicle under the fluorescent buzz of Hargrove and Associates, ironic. I plugged it in. The files uploaded smooth as sin. Fake invoices. Shell accounts in the Caymans. All timestamped to my login. By dawn, I'd erased the traces. Or so I thought. But as I drove home, sirens wailed in my rear view. Blue lights splashed my windshield like abstract art from hell. They arrested me at the state line. Cuffs biting into my wrists. The USB confiscated like contraband. Embezzlement. Wire fraud. Identity theft. The detective drawled. His St. Louis accent thick as barbecue sauce. Your old man's campaign is squeaky clean now. Thanks to you. Dad was there. On the news that night. Denying everything. His face a mask of righteous indignation. My daughter. We had no idea. Mom wept prettily for the cameras. Lila nowhere in sight. Prison was Leavenworth. Federal time for the white-collar sins I'd shouldered. 6 months in Gen Pop before the swap. Endless days of concrete echoes. The stink of bleach and despair. Women with tattoos like war stories trading whispers about husbands on the outside. I wrote letters home. Begging for visits. For explanations. Silence.
Then.
That text. It came on a smuggled burner phone. Courtesy of a guard with a soft spot for good girls. The family chat. The one we'd used for grocery lists and birthday reminders. Fiona. We've filed the restraining order. We need distance. Stop contacting us. For your sake and ours. I stared at the screen until the battery died. The words searing like acid. Victory? They'd turned me into the villain. Buried their sins under my name. And now they wanted to forget me like a bad debt written off. Rage bloomed. Black and thorny. In the pit of my stomach. But rage alone doesn't win wars. You need a weapon. The swap happened during a routine medical transfer. I'd collapsed in the yard, dehydration, they said. But really, it was the stress fracturing me like cheap glass. Wheeled into the ER at the prison clinic, IVs snaking my arms. Monitors beeping a dirge. That's when I met Dr. Harlan Voss, the specialist flown in from Johns Hopkins for some experimental neural mapping trial.
Tall.
Silver-haired, with eyes like polished obsidian and a voice that could sell ice to Eskimos. He was there for Lila. Turns out, my golden child sister wasn't just jet-setting, she was dying. Rare brain tumor, aggressive as a Kansas twister, eating her from the inside out. The family had kept it hushed, scandals bad for polls, and Voss was their Hail Mary, a black market procedure. Body transference via some DARPA-funded neural bridge. Swapping consciousnesses to give her a fresh vessel. They'd picked me. Expendable. Incarcerated. The perfect donor. Comatose enough to sign away in my best interest. I woke up screaming, but it wasn't my voice. The room spun, sterile white walls blurring into nausea. My hands smaller, manicured, clawed at the sheets. I bolted to the mirror, and there she was, Lila's face, all high cheekbones and full lips, staring back with my hazel eyes wide in horror.
No.
Wait, her eyes. Now mine. Steel gray and cold. The swap was glitchy. Incomplete. Fragments of her lingered in the synapses. But my mind, my fury, rode shotgun. Voss burst in, syringe in hand. Calm down. MS. Hargrove. The integration's holding. He thought I was her.
Perfect.
I played along, voice trembling in that breathy Lila timbre.
What?
What happened? Fiona? Feigning confusion. Tears streaming, Academy Award shit. He bought it, babbling about success rates. Neural echoes. By evening, they wheeled me, the real Lila in my broken body, back to the prison wing, doped to the gills, while I, in her flawless shell, was discharged into Mom and Dad's waiting Escalade. Freedom tasted like ash. We drove through the rain-slicked streets of KC, wipers thwacking like accusations. Mom cooed from the front seat.
Oh,
Honey, you're back. It's a miracle. Dad gripped the wheel, eyes on the road. But I caught the flicker, relief, guilt. The tumor's gone. Lila. Clean slate. Clean slate. If only they knew. That night, in Lila's old bedroom, posters of runway shows peeling at the edges. Vanity cluttered with high-end serums, I rifled through her things. The USB was there, hidden in a false-bottom jewelry box, along with printouts, Dad's ledgers, Voss's invoices for the swap, a cool $5 mill, funneled through Mom's charity, and a letter from Lila, dated the day before the crash.
Dad.
If Fiona won't take the fall, we do the swap anyway. She's collateral. Family first. Collateral. That's what I was. The crash? They'd staged it, Lila's accident on the interstate. Me rushing to her side. Perfect cover for the procedure. My body, mangled just enough for the ER. But hers, pristine for the transfer. The text from me, the imposter in my skin still burned.
Distance.
I'd give them distance.
All right.
The kind that echoes forever. I started small. Posing as Lila, I charmed my way into Dad's study, the one with the walnut desk and walls of signed photos from glad-handing governors. His laptop password? Hargrove one lazy bastard. I mirrored his files to a cloud drive. Every dirty email. Every offshore wire. But I didn't leak yet.
No.
Revenge is a slow burn, like ribs smoking low and steady. Next.
Voss.
I called him at 2 a.m., voice quivering. Doctor, something's wrong. Memories. Fiona's memories. He rushed over. All clinical concern. And I dosed his coffee with the sedatives from Lila's pill stash, enough to knock out a horse. While he drooled on the couch, I hacked his tablet, patient logs, swap protocols, even a video of the procedure, me flatlining on the table as Lila's essence flooded in. Waking him with a splash of water, I leaned close, my new face inches from his. Tell me everything, Harlan. Or this video goes viral. Senator's daughter in Frankenstein body swap. Imagine the headlines. He cracked like cheap china. The tech was military grade. Reverse engineered from battlefield trauma trials, souls shuffled to save soldiers. But for civilians, black market only. With risks, echoes, madness, rejection. Lila's tumor had metastasized to her psyche. She'd been unraveling, ranting about stealing Fiona's life in her journals. They'd chosen me because I was stable, my mind a sturdy scaffold for her to cling to post-swap.
But now?
I was the scaffold, and she was the crumbling weight in my old body. She's you now, Voss whispered, sweat beading on his brow. But unstable. The prison meds aren't calibrated. She'll break soon. Good. Let her. By week's end, I had the arsenal, files, video, Voss's confession recorded on Lila's iPhone. But power's nothing without the play. I needed to make them feel it. The isolation they'd gifted me. So I ghosted. No calls. No texts. Let the worry fester. Mom noticed first. Lila bud? Everything okay? Her voicemails piled up, laced with that Midwestern passive aggression. Dad's were curt. Call home. I savored them like fine scotch, deleting as I went. Meanwhile, in Leavenworth, Fiona was stirring. Reports trickled in via Voss's contacts, erratic behavior, outbursts about imposters. Lila's essence leaking through, my body's frailty amplifying the chaos. She tried contacting the family, smuggled notes that read like fever dreams. It's me. Not her. Help. They ignored her. Distance. Remember? My first strike landed soft. A feint. Anonymous tip to the KC Star. Hargrove campaign funds mismanagement. Check server logs. The article dropped Monday morning. Buried on page B7. But it stung. Dad's press secretary spun it as routine audit, but I saw the strain in his televised rebuttal. The tick in his jaw. Emboldened, I escalated. Using Lila's credit cards, Platinum, Limitless, I flew to New York, her old stomping grounds. The modeling agency was a glass tower in Midtown, all chrome and ambition. Posing as her, I waltzed in, signed bogus contracts for shoots that drained the family accounts, $50,000 for a Paris campaign, wired straight to my burner offshore. Back in KC. The text flew, Lila. What the hell? The agency's calling about overdrafts. I replied once. From a spoofed number. Need distance? Taking it. Panic set in. Mom hosted an emergency family meeting, me absent. Of course, while Dad lawyered up. Voss sweating bullets under NDAs that wouldn't hold against federal scrutiny. That's when the dream started. Lila's echoes. Bleeding through the neural bridge. Flashes of her life. Cocaine-fueled afterparties. Dad's hands too familiar on her shoulders. Mom's whispers of, keep it quiet, secrets upon secrets. The embezzlement? It wasn't just campaign funds. It was hush money for Lila's assault, covered up years ago. Dad, pulling strings with the perp, a lobbyist donor. I'd taken the fall for that too. Indirectly. Forging alibis in my youth without knowing the full rot. Waking in sweats. Lila's silk sheets tangled. I vowed. They'd pay for every layer. The second phase of my unraveling, really, began with a drive down memory lane. That cracked asphalt ribbon winding through the Missouri countryside where we'd spent summers at the lake house. I took Lila's Audi. Top down. Wind whipping my hair like a flag of surrender I refused to wave. The radio crackled with country twang, Garth Brooks crooning about friends in low places, and I laughed. Bitter as black coffee. Because mine were all ghosts now. The lake house was a relic, cedar siding weathered gray. Dock creaking under bass boats long sold. Dad had deeded it to the girls in his will draft. A sentimental touch amid the ledgers. I let myself in with the spare key under the mat. Trust. The ultimate fool's gold. And the air hit me stale. Laced with mildew and forgotten sunscreen. Upstairs. In the loft we'd shared as kids. I found the box. Lila's high school yearbook. Dog-eared journals. A lock of my hair taped to a page where she'd scrawled.
P.S. My fiad.
Always. Shield. Yeah. I'd been that. Covering her truancies. Her shoplifts. Her breakdowns after the assault. Mom had pulled me aside once. Post-incident. Lila's fragile. Honey, you're strong. Handle it. So I did forged notes, lied to cops, balanced the emotional books while Dad balanced the financial ones crooked. In the attic dust, I unearthed the real bomb, a hidden safe. Combination Lila's birthday. Inside, not cash, but cassettes, VHS tapes. Archaic as flip phones. Labeled insurance. I dusted off the old TV VCR combo, the one Dad used for football reruns, and hit play. Grainy footage flickered to life. A hotel room in Jefferson City. 2012. Young Lila, 17, cornered by a paunchy suit, the lobbyist, Harlan Hal Whitaker, donor extraordinaire. She fought,
clawed.
but the camera caught it all, the assault, her screams muffled by a hand over her mouth. Then, post facto, Dad bursting in, not to save, but to negotiate. Hal, we square this now, or your contracts dry up. A wad of cash exchanged, a nod, and the tape ends with Lila curled fetal. Mom arriving to clean up. My stomach roiled. This was the secret. The original sin I'd borne vicariously. Alibis. Silence. The family's fortress built on my complicity. They'd framed me for the money trail because I knew too much. Suspected too little. The swap, mercy killing disguised as salvation. Lila's tumor, a convenient excuse to erase her guilt-ridden mind and install mine in a body that could keep climbing. I pocketed a tape, left the rest. Evidence needs planting, not hoarding. Back in the city, I played Lila to perfection. Dinner at the country club, schmoozing Dad's cronies, oil barons and agribusiness hacks in seersucker suits. Slapping backs over Scotch neat. Lila, darling, you look radiant, one gushed, leering just enough to echo Hell's ghost. I smiled, all teeth, and slipped a waiter 100 to spike their drinks with Lila's leftover benzos, mild dose. Just enough fog for loose lips. By the third round, they were spilling, whispers of Dad's side deals, kickbacks from Voss's clinic funneled through Mom's nonprofit. Victor's playing God now, one slurred, chuckling at the irony. I recorded it all. iPhone nestled in my lap like a pet snake. That night, the family chat lit up again from Fiona's prison line. Smuggled access. It's Lila.
Please.
The body's wrong. Help me. Desperation dripped from the pixels. I almost pitted the shell, my old face twisted in her agony. Neural echoes frying her synapses. But pity's for the weak. Boss called next morning. Voice pitched high. The patient's deteriorating. Hallucinations. Violence. We need to reverse it. Reverse? As if. I met him at a dive bar off Troost Avenue. The kind with neon signs buzzing like angry hornets and jukebox blues, wailing loss. Over greasy burgers. I laid it out. You're in.
Harlan.
Or you're out, federal time for unlicensed surgery. Human trafficking vibes. He paled. Ketchup smearing his tie. What do you want? Access. Full schematics on the bridge. And a way to amplify the echoes. Make Lila suffer in my skin. Let her drown in the guilt she dumped on me. He complied, handing over a thumb drive in the parking lot. Rain now sheeting down like divine judgment. This is madness. Lila. You're not her. I grabbed his collar, pulling him close enough to smell his fierce sweat. I'm exactly her. The one you buried. Driving away. Wipers slashing the downpour. I felt the first crack in my facade. Lila's memory surged, not just trauma, but tenderness. Us as kids. Braiding hair by flashlight. Promising forever. Was I avenging? Or erasing? The line blurred. But momentum carried me. Strike two. The leak. I funneled the country club audio to a blogger in D.C. One with a grudge against Dad's anti-regulation bills. It hit Politico at noon. Missouri senators' inner circle sloshes scotch and secrets. Shares exploded. Twitter, X, whatever, ablaze with Hargrove hypocrite. Dad's office went radio silent. Then damage control, oppressor denying, allegations from disgruntled associates. But the tapes? Those were personal. I mailed one anonymously to Mom. No note. Just the cassette in a plain envelope postmarked NYC. She called Lila's phone, my phone, at midnight.
Voice shattering.
What is this? Lila.
Talk to me.
Please. I let it ring. Then texted. Distance. Remember? Her sobs echoed in the voicemail she left next. We did it for you. Baby. The tumor. It was changing you. Fiona was. Convenient. Convenient. The word ignited fresh fury. Meanwhile, in Leavenworth, chaos reigned. Voss's contacts reported riots. Fiona had snapped. Assaulting a guard. Ranting about body thieves. A solitary. They said. But the damage was done. Psych eval flagged. Transfer to a high-security ward imminent. Lila's mind fracturing my bones. I needed to see her. Posing as Lila. I charmed a prison visit through Dad's connections, senatorial pole greasing wheels. The room was a fishbowl. Plexiglass divider. Intercom crackle. Air thick with bleach. There I was. Across the divide. My old face. Gaunt and bruised. Eyes wild with her steel-gray stare. Fiona, she rasped, pressing palms to the glass. But it was Lila. Voice mine but inflection hers. Whiny. Entitled. I leaned in. Microphone humming.
No.
It's me. The real one. Confusion flickered. Then horror.
What? The swap.
It worked?
But you're.
Me? Echoes. Lila. Harlan filled me in. You're fading. How's it feel? Wearing the weight? She banged the glass. Guards twitching. They made me. Dad said it'd fix everything. The cancer. The guilt. You were supposed to stay under. Wake up forgiven. Forgiven? For what? Framing me. I laughed. Cold. Tell me about Hal. The tape was vintage. Her face crumpled. Tears carving tracks. I couldn't.
Say it.
You were always the brave one. So I hid. The money. The crash, it was to buy silence. Buy time.
Time.
We'd run out. Enjoy the distance, I whispered.
Standing.
It's all yours now. As they dragged her away, screaming my name, her name, I felt a twinge. Was this victory? Or just trading cages? Back home. The house felt haunted. Mom had taken to pills. Valium vials rattling in her purse. Dad paced like a caged bull. Phone glued to ear. I confronted them at breakfast. Pancakes cooling untouched. Coffee bitter. Lila. Thank God. Mom breathed. Reaching. I let her hug the air. We need to talk, I said, sliding the second tape across the table. Dad's fork clattered. Where did you? Doesn't matter. Play it. The footage rolled on his laptop. Hal's grunts. Lila's pleas. Their hurried cover-up. Mom gasped. Hand to throat. Dad went stone still. This is blackmail, he growled.
No.
Justice. I hit pause. I know about the swap. The ledgers. Everything. Resign.
Dad.
Dissolve Mom's charity. Or the full archive drops, tapes, audio. Voss's confession. Family first goes nuclear. Mom whimpered. We were protecting you. Lila. The tumor was bullshit, I snapped. A excuse to offload your sins onto me. I took the fall once. Not again. Dad's eyes narrowed. Calculating. You're not my daughter. Smart man. But too late. That afternoon,
He caved.
resignation letter drafted. Sent to the governor by courier. The charity shuttered. Assets frozen pending audit. Headline screamed. Hargrove dynasty crumbles amid scandal. The family chat pinged. Fiona from solitary. A garbled plea. End it. Please. I deleted it. Distance. But as the empire fell, so did I. Lila's body rebelled. Migraines like lightning. Phantom pains where the tumor had been. Boss warned. Rejection setting in. You can't sustain it. Sustain? I'd burn it all. Fall crept into Kansas City like a thief. Leaves turning crimson under skies the color of bruised plums. The Hargrove name, once etched in gold leaf on Capitol plaques, now smeared across tabloids like yesterday's gossip. Dad's resignation made national waves, CNN panels dissecting the fall of Midwestern morality, while Mom retreated to spa retreats in Sedona. Her socials gone dark.
Me?
I was the ghost in the machine. Lila's lithe form gliding through the wreckage, collecting shards for my mosaic of spite. Voss became my reluctant oracle, meeting in motel rooms off the interstate, hourly rates, threadbare quilts, the hum of semis like a mechanical lullaby. He'd bring takeout Thai, extra spicy to match the tension, and we'd pour over scans, my Lila's brain lighting up wrong, her neural ghosts crowding mine. You're overloading, he'd say, pointer finger tracing glowing anomalies. The bridge is bidirectional. Her memories are yours now. Soon, you won't know where Fiona ends and Lila begins. Let it come, I thought. Fusion as weapon. I'd already woven her secrets into my arsenal, the assault's ripple effects. How it had warped her into a user, manipulating Dad's empire for fixes and fame. Journals detailed it, pages of rage at me for being untouched, envy festering into the frame job. Phi's the saint. I'll be the survivor, one entry sneered. Dated the week of my arrest. I used it. Anonymous posts on Reddit's r/Missouri politics. Dripping her words like venom. Inside the Hargrove hell, daughter's assault covered by daddy dearest. Screenshots blurred for deniability. But the damage stuck, upvotes. Shares. Calls for investigation. AG's office perked up. Subpoenas flying like confetti at a funeral. Dad fought dirty. Of course. Hired PIs to tail Lila, his text to me laced with pleas turning threats. Come home. Or the real story breaks. Your complicity in the ledgers. Complicity? I'd been the patsy. But doubt gnawed. Lila's echoes whispering. You knew. You always knew. Nights blurred into insomnia marathons. Pacing the loft in Lila's penthouse. Wait. When did I move there? Her life bleeding in designer closets. Coke residue in mirrored trays. I flushed it, but the cravings lingered. A low hum like withdrawal from family itself. The controversial call came mid-October. Frost rhyming the windows. Voss. Over burner phones, the original body, Fiona's, is viable for reversal. But it's risky. 50/50ths, you both survive. And sanity? Coin flip. Reverse. Back to my old skin. Scarred and spent. With Lila shucked into oblivion?
Or stay?
Conquer from this stolen throne? Ethics be damned. This was chess, not checkers. I chose the board. Prep it, I told him. But first, amplification. Make her feel me. He rigged a device, neural zapper, disguised as a Fitbit, synced to the bridge. Clipped to my wrist. It pulsed her pain points, guilt spikes when I thought of the tapes, rage flares at family mentions. In Leavenworth, she'd writhe, my old body convulsing in solitary, guards logging psychotic episodes. Reports confirmed, inmate Hargrove self-harming, claims sister's ghost possessing her. Lila, drowning in my memories now, prison stints I'd romanticized in letters. The betrayal's raw edge. Victory tasted metallic, like blood under tongue. Mom resurfaced, uninvited. Knocked at the penthouse door at dawn. Pearls askew, eyes puffy from crying jags. Lila,
Please.
your father's breaking. The house is empty without you, us. I let her in, poured chamomile tea, Lila's stash, ironically soothing. She prattled, charity donors fleeing, social exile, whispers at the grocery of that monster family. Then, the hook, we can fix this. Get Fiona help therapy, reduce sentence. Pretend the swap never. Swap, I echoed, feigning shock. Her hand flew to mouth. Oh God. You remember? Fragments. Lie smooth as silk. Tell me. She crumbled, spilling over cold mugs. The tumor diagnosis. Lila's descent into paranoia. She thought you were coming for her inheritance. The decision over Brandy one storm last night. Your accident was
Timed.
to align with the procedure. We thought you'd forgive. Post-swap. Family men's, right?
Forgive.
The word ignited the zapper. Across state lines. Lila screamed in her cell. My pain hers. No, I said, voice steel. But I'll offer mercy.
Confess. Publicly.
The assault. The cover-up. The frame. All of it. Her face strained. They'll crucify us. Better than what I have planned. She left in tears. But seeds planted. Days later. A blog post, Elaine Hargrove's lament, a mother's reckoning, dropped. Ghost-written, but signed. Details poured. Hal's name. The payoff. Even nods to deeper financial sins. Twitter erupted. Me Too Hargrove trending. Protesters picketing the old campaign HQ with signs. Distance? Try justice. Dad retaliated. Subpoenaing the post's IP, traced to a VPN in Toronto. My doing. But it forced his hand. A town hall. Mic in sweaty palm. Admitting mistakes in judgment. No swap mention. But the dam cracked. Lila's echoes intensified. Dreams now, her on the runway. Lights blinding. But the crowd's face is mine. Accusing. Waking. I'd claw mirrors. Shards drawing blood, not mine.
Technically.
Voss urged abortion of the plan. Extract now. Before you lose yourself. Lose? I was gaining. Power thrummed. Controversial decisions stacking like Jenga. Leak the swap video? Frame Voss for the embezzlement? Each a moral skid. But momentum's addictive. The climax brewed at Thanksgiving, ironic. Harvest of sins. Dad insisted. One last family meal. Neutral ground, the club. I agreed. Zapper humming anticipation. The dining room overlooked the golf course. Fairy lights twinkling like fall stars. Turkey carved tableside. Sides heaped. Green bean casserole. Cranberry relish. The trimmings of denial. Mom picked at her plate. Dad monologued about comebacks, and I, Lila's shell, sipped wine. Waiting. Then,
The door.
not guards, but Voss, dragged by my anonymous tip to the staff.
No.
Better, the AG's detail. Badges flashing. Victor Hargrove, you're under arrest. Obstruction. Conspiracy. Chaos. Silverware clatter. Mom's scream. Dad lunged. But cuffs snapped. Lila, what have you done? I stood. Glass raised. Toasted family first. Your words, Dad. As they hauled him. The Zapper Max Lila. In absentia. Feeling the shatter. But wait, my wrist burned. Vision doubling. Echo overload. Voss. Cornered. Hissed. It's too much. The bridge is collapsing. Collapsing. The room tilted. Faces blurring. Dad's fury mine. Mom's despair Lila's. I staggered out. Rain greeting like old friend. Driving blind to the prison. Visitation again. Emergency. Fiona shackled. Feral. End it, she begged. Voice raw. I feel you. Every cut. I press the glass. Confess first. The frame. The swap. On record. She nodded. Broken. Warden called in. Recorder rolling. It was me. Lila. I set Fiona up. The crash. The money. All to escape. Tears. Snot.
Truth spilling.
But as she spoke, my body, hers seized. Zapper feedback loop. Voss's warnings incarnate. Pain lanced. Dual, my old frame convulsing. Lila's shell buckling. Reverse now, I gasped into the intercom. Guards panicked. Alarms wail. Blackness swallowed. A vortex of selves. I came to in a haze of beeps and antiseptic sting. Voss's face hovering like a bad angel, mask down. Eyes frantic behind goggles. Stable. Barely. The procedure room. Cable snaking. Monitors graphing spikes like seismographs of the soul. My body, real one, ached. Scars from the crash reopened. But it was mine. Hazel eyes in the overhead light. Freckles I'd forgotten across the nose. Across the gurney.
Lila, no.
Empty vessel now. Her shell. Gray-eyed and still. Ventilated hum, the only rhythm. Voss explained in clipped tones. The reversal triggered cascade failure. Her tumor-riddled mind couldn't reintegrate. Echoes overwhelmed. Psyche shredded. Coma. Indefinite. You got your body back. But the bridge. It's scarred. You'll carry pieces of her. Forever. Pieces. I felt them already. A phantom grace in my step. Cravings for runway lights. Guilt's undercurrent like Missouri River silt. Victory? Or Pyrrhic trade? Prison spat me out provisional. Confession quashed charges. House arrest pending full exoneration. The world spun on dad indicted, bail denied, mom institutionalized. Exhaustion, the polite term for breakdown. Headlines crown me martyr. Fiona Hargrove, framed daughter, fights back. Talk shows beckoned. But I ghosted. Holing up in the lake house. Waves lapping judgment. The text stopped. No more distance, just silence, vast as the prairie. But silence breeds reflection. And mine was a funhouse mirror. Lila's journals. Salvaged. Painted not monster, but mirror. Victim turned victimizer. Cycle I'd perpetuated by shielding. Had I avenged? Or perpetuated? Voss visited weekly. Under guise of therapy. Bald now. Stress shaved. He probed. The controversial choices, Zapper.
Leaks.
Worth it. Worth their fall. I shrugged. Sipping black coffee. Ask them. But doubt festered. Nightmares blended us. Me as her on that hotel bed. Clawing at Hal. Her as me in cuffs. Tasting betrayal. The bridge's scar pulsed. A low-grade fever of what-ifs. Escalation called. Revenge's inertia. Dad's trial loomed. January in Jefferson City Courthouse. All marble solemnity and fluorescent truth. I testified. Voice steady the frame. The swap. Voss's tech exposed in diagrams I'd memorized. Jurors gasped at the VHS play. Hal's ghost on screens. Dad's complicity etched. Cross-exam, his lawyer. Slick as oil. Painted me conspirator. MS. Hargrove. You access those codes willingly. For family. For family, I echoed. Zapper's ghost tingling. Like you taught. The twist hit mid-recess. Voss. On stand. Cracking under immunity deal. Not just swap, clones. DARPA's endgame. Duplicate minds for elite continuity. Dad wasn't first. He'd funded pilots. Lila, a test subject. Me the control. Victor wanted immortality, Voss admitted. Lila's body for his consciousness. Post-retirement. You were. Rehearsal. Rehearsal. The courtroom murmured. Flashes popping. Dad's face, not fury. Fear, exposed as Icarus. Wings melting. Verdict, guilty. 20 years. Mom plea bargained community service. Her charity a front for laundering. Hal exhumed from retirement. Charged anew. Justice. Served cold. But the scar flared. Post-trial. Driving home, my Civic. Reclaimed, I swerved at a phantom. Lila's laugh in the passenger seat. Pulled over. Hyperventilating. I called Voss. Amplify it. Make her wake. Madness, he warned. But complied. In his lab, now raided, but backroom intact. Zapper reversed. My thoughts to her shell. In the coma ward. I synced, hand on hers. Pulses fired, my rage. Her remorse. Monitors spiked. Eyelids fluttered. She woke gasping. Gray eyes, hers focusing on me. Phi?
It's
Over? Almost. I leaned close. Feel the distance? That's victory. But as she gripped my hand, twist inverted, not enemy. Ally. I framed you, she whispered. But Dad. He planned the swap for me first. To escape Hell's shadow. You saved me.
saved.
The bridge hummed truth. Her echoes in me weren't invasion. Inheritance. We'd both been pawns. Queens in our delusions. Controversy raged online. Body swap ethics. Debates on Fiona's vengeance. Hero or vigilante? Pundits argued, me a feminist icon. Or Frankenstein's monster. Petitions for Voss's release. Or execution.
He shows ambiguity.
Public statement. Family's end. Mine begins. No details. Letting voids fill with speculation. Lila recovered slow. Neural rehab in a Swiss clinic, family funds. Ironic. Visits were tentative, her in wheelchair, me bearing scars. Turn their words into victory, she joked once.
Weak.
Distance made us strangers. Strangers made us strong. Strong? Debatable. The scar remained. A tether, her dreams in mine, my fury in hers. We'd co-author a book. Anonymous. Swapped Souls, a Hargrove Reckoning. Bestseller. Debates eternal. Yet, endings linger. Dad's appeals dragged. Mom's letters begged forgiveness. I burned them. But one line stuck. We needed distance to see you clearly.
Clearly.
Too late. Spring thawed the Midwest. Dogwoods blooming defiant against the scars of winter's siege. I stood on the lake house dock. Toes gripping weathered planks. Water lapping like half-remembered apologies. My body, Fiona's, fully mine now, felt foreign yet familiar. Aches where Lila's grace had ghosted. Strength forged in the forge of fallout. The scar from the bridge? A whisper now. Occasional flicker of her laugh in quiet moments. A reminder that revenge, like family, defies clean severance. The book dropped in May. Ghost-written but raw. Our voices braided. Truths twisted just enough for deniability. Swapped souls climbed charts. Oprah's book club nods sealing its infamy. Panels dissected. Was the swap salvation or sin? My vigilante hacks heroic, or hubris? Lila and I watched from afar, she in Zurich, me in Casey's anonymity. A new job at a non-profit auditing corruption. Irony's full circle. Dad rotted in Supermax. Appeals denied. His empire auctioned to pay victims. Hal's trial overlapped. Me Too firestorm consuming him, life sentence.
No parole. Mom?
She vanished into witness protection light. A quiet town in Oregon. Sending postcards unsigned. Wildflowers pressed. Notes in spidery script. Healing takes time. Forgive if you can. Forgive? The words soured like milk left out. But Lila's echoes urged nuance. We all wore masks. Her recovery videos, grainy zooms, showed progress. Walking unaided. That runway poise returning. But eyes haunted. Gray softened to ash. The tumor was metaphor, she'd say. Cancer of secrets. You cut it out.
Cut.
My hands, once imagined around her throat, now typed grants for survivor funds. Controversial? Hell yes, victims' advocates called me grifter. Profiting off pain. But checks cleared. Women escaped shadows like Lila's. The final twist slithered in June. Heat wave baking the city. Voss. Post-prison plea deal. Tech seized. Contacted via encrypted email. Loose end. The bridge archives. DARPA wants them back. Or they bury you both.
Bury.
Old instincts flared. Zap. Leak. Burn. But growth's quiet work. I forwarded to the AG. Raid hit dawn. Voss's safe house torched in metaphor. He vanished. Whispers of witness relocation. Lila called that night. Voice electric. You chose truth over revenge. Proud.
Proud.
From her, the golden child, laughter bubbled. Shared, Bridges' last gift. Summer waned. Family chat dormant archive. One ping. From Mom's new number, saw the book. Distance was our fear. Victory yours, and ours. If you'll share.
Share.
I typed. Deleted. Typed. Maybe. Start with coffee. Neutral ground. Ending. No tidy bow. Happy. In redemption's fragile hope. Tragic. In scars eternal. Debatable. As all good reckonings. The American way. Pull yourself up. Even from stolen skins. And turn betrayal's blade inward. Carving space for what comes next. We met in a diner off I-70. Vinyl booths cracking under weight of words unsaid. Mom. Older. Lines etched like ledger errors. I was wrong, she started, hands twisting napkin. About everything. I nodded. Coffee black. We all were. Lila joined via video. Screen propped. Family 2.0. Glitchy. But ours. Outside. Thunderstorms brewed. Release. Not ruin. Victory? In the distance we'd bridged. The secrets unearthed. The selves reclaimed. Their words. Once chains. Now launchpad. And in the quiet after, as rain broke, I felt whole. Fractured. But forward.